How's it guys? Dogtor here. I'm a veterinarian from South Africa and today is a very special day as my channel has reached its 1 year anniversary. Yay! So for tonight I'm going to do something a little different and answer a couple of questions that you guys have sent me in my community tab as well as on my email address so that you can get to know me a bit better and learn a bit more from where I'm coming from as a veterinarian from South Africa. So let's settle in and get started. Okay, so my first question. Did you ever consider giving up in vet school? Yes, multiple times. I still do. And I think most veterinarians or veterinary students will probably think the same way. And I don't think it's only with veterinary science, I think that's with any career. But veterinary science is a 6-year degree, so it's a long time, and that's only if you get in directly after school. The work is difficult, it's a lot of information to memorize, it is very challenging, and yes, many days you get to a point where you just want to give up because, you know, what's the point? If you're not really good enough for this. And even as a veterinary practitioner, that also sometimes happens. You feel like you failed the case and you must just, quit everything and just let it go and go away to somewhere. But yeah, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and usually after these moments is when you rise up from the ashes and you become a better vet. You learn from your mistakes and you grow to be stronger. So yes, for sure, I've wanted to give up multiple times in my life, but looking back now, I'm really glad that I did stick to it. And if you are a vet student or a veterinarian in a similar boat, then just keep swimming. The reward you get from saving animals' lives far outweigh any negative feelings that you might get regarding the profession. If you were an animal, which animal would you be? That's easy. I would probably say a goat. I really like them because, first of all, they're very stubborn. They do whatever they want and they don't care what you think. Second of all, they have a lot of agility and dexterity. Have you seen the goats in Switzerland? I don't know how the hell they climb up sideways on the mountain, but they manage to do that. And thirdly, I just love cute goats. They're so cute. It's the best thing I've ever seen. I don't own any pets currently because we are living in an apartment and I'm not allowed. But to be honest, I will probably get a goat before I get a dog or a cat because, they're so cute. What is a useless talent that you have? A useless talent. Well, I guess I can pick up stuff with my toes. Well, let me show you. Let me just get some. You see? This is pretty useless, but it does sometimes come in handy. When I'm too lazy to stand up to pick up something, I can just use my extended arm and pick it up with my toes, I guess. Okay, next up. What is your first "they didn't teach me this in vet school" moment? Well, I think the majority of veterinary schools prepare their students quite well in terms of theoretical and practical knowledge, in terms of learning how to cure disease and how to practically approach it. But the one thing that I found that they do tend to leave out is the emotional part of veterinary science. I'm still a fairly young veterinarian, and some of the most difficult days I've had before is where there's a lot of emotion involved with the cases, such as when you need to have a very difficult discussion with a pet owner with regards to their pet, where there's not really anything that you can do to help them, and where the best option would be to let the dog or cat go by means of euthanasia. This is very difficult for a new graduate to do because we haven't been prepared fully for this kind of work, and it does have a toll on your own emotional and intellectual being. So I think if vet schools can focus more on preparing new graduates on the emotional side of vet science, then there will probably be more vets in the industry after a couple of years, because that's what sometimes happens is the vets get burned out and they suffer from something called compassion fatigue, which is quite a dangerous thing, and this causes many vets to exit the profession. Okay, next up. What was your hardest subject in vet school? Alright, so the subject that I did the worst in was pathology. It's because we had an oral test. And yeah, I know how it goes. You will have, for example, I can't even remember, it was probably like 1,000 pages to study. And then the last chapter was like 4 pages on endocrinology, which is diseases such as diabetes and Cushing's and Addison's. It's quite complicated diseases. And it was late at night and I decided, you know what, I'm going to skip these 4 pages. What are the chances that they will ask me this? And yes, as Murphy will have it, that was all that my oral was about. They asked me a bunch of questions about diabetes, Cushing's, Addison's, and I had a very basic knowledge about it, but not from a pathology view. And yeah, they didn't give me a great mark, and I really had to work my ass off to pass that exam in the end of the year. So yes, I almost failed it. Pathology as a subject is not that difficult. I think the most difficult subject in that sense, for me personally, would probably be something like pharmacology or toxicology, because it's a lot of memorizing work where you have to memorize like tables and tables of information, and I'm not too good with memorizing a bunch of information. Heaven knows how I passed veterinary science. But yeah, I think pharmacology and toxicology was probably the most difficult subjects for me personally. Do you treat exotic animals or only domestic ones? So the clinic that I'm currently working at, we mostly do dogs and cats. We do have the occasional bird or hamster or sugar glider that comes in, but the majority of my time I spend working with dogs and cats. Last year when I worked as a state vet for the government, we worked mostly with production animals such as cows, goats, sheep and even horses. But this year I'm mainly focused with small companion animals. And yeah, who knows, maybe someday in the future I will do a bit of wildlife as well. Alright, next. What was your craziest or scariest or grossest vet moment? There's many. We do gross stuff every single day. I mean, a normal day would probably include an anal gland abscess or a pyometra or maybe an enema. But the grossest thing I've done as a veterinarian, well, I guess when I was a veterinary student, we had a rotation in pathology and we just had this very unlucky week where a farmer brought in multiple buffaloes that were dead for about a week. And we had to do a full post-mortem on them because it was an insurance case. So you literally have to cut open every single part of the buffalo and send samples. And a carcass that has been in the sun for a week does not smell too great. And if it was only one, that would be fine. I mean, just a normal day. But it was 10 of them. It was not a good week for me. Ugh. See why I hate pathology? What do you find to be the hardest thing about your job? Do you face any issues that you have trouble not taking home with you at the end of the day? This is a very good question. I think as veterinarians, we are typically overachievers. So we are basically wired to be perfectionists. And yeah, sometimes you do get a case where you literally try everything you can and it does not work out. And this is where you will go home and you will replay everything over in your head. You will try and reanalyze what you could have done better, what you should not have done. And yeah, this does get you sometimes. My wife is also a veterinarian and we work at the same practice. So for our household, that sometimes does become a problem. But at least we are there to support each other and to put dates together. And yeah, ideally you want to draw a line between your work and your personal life. But sometimes it's inevitable. You lie around in your bed at night wondering if you did the best that you possibly could. And I guess with experience, you'll be able to separate yourself. At this stage in my life, I do still find it difficult to leave difficult cases at work. Do you have any pets? No, I don't. I know, I'm a bad veterinarian. But currently, my wife and I are living in an apartment where they do not allow any pets. And we are not yet sure where we want to be in the next couple of years. So getting a pet now is pointless because, as you all should know, getting a pet is a 10 to 15 year lifetime commitment and we are not able to provide that sense of security at this stage. So I don't have any pets, but my work does allow me to cuddle and play with pets every single day. So I guess that's fine for now. Okay, how would you describe what a vet is to an alien from another planet? If I was an alien, I will stay the hell away from a vet because, yeah, that is a good question. It really depends on where's this alien coming from. Do they have any pets on the planet? Is the alien considered a pet? Because then, the vet can help him. So there's a lot of moving parts in this question. I'm not sure exactly what this person wants me to answer. But yeah, if I have to explain a veterinarian to an alien, it will probably be similar to what a medical doctor is, except we treat more species, so we are a bit more of a threat in that sense. And I hope that alien does not have a fever. What, in your opinion, is an unnecessary thing that pet owners spend money on? I think that would be treats. I know some people use tricks to teach their dog or cat a trick, which is absolutely fine because that works, it's very effective. But some pet owners believe that you need to supplement treats for the dog or cat because they are not happy with their food. If you are feeding a well-formulated diet, then there's no need to give anything else. Understand that a treat is a treat and you want to reward them for something, but I just see many pet owners unnecessarily spending a lot of money on treats where there's no nutritional benefit for feeding treats. Your dog or cat will be absolutely fine on a well-formulated diet and water, and there's no need to buy anything else. And sometimes a treat will become the norm instead of the exception, and this can lead to obesity, which I don't want to even go into because then this video will be an hour long. So yeah, stop buying treats, it's not necessary. Why did you start a YouTube channel? Where even do you find the time to make videos? Okay, so my channel is a year old, so backtrack a year ago, we were in a kind of a weird situation in the world because of the virus whose name we shall not mention. The problem that started arising with people panicking and this whole chaos of a world that we were living in is that people started panicking and thought that companion animals can transmit the virus to people. And at that stage, there was not enough evidence to really support that. And it was a dangerous thing because many pets were just abandoned on the sidewalks or surrendered to shelters or even surrendered to be euthanized. And this was wrongfully done. So I decided to at least bring some light to this issue and do a bunch of research to explain why this is not the case at the time. And yeah, that was my first video and it did fairly well. I think I got about 500 views on it. And then I basically realized that there's a lot of misinformation on the internet. And the internet is great because it makes information accessible to everyone, but it also comes with its own dangers, as anyone can put any information on it. And not all people that give advice are veterinarians. And this is where people can sometimes make bad decisions based on good intentions. And I also saw there's not a lot of veterinarians on the internet that really does this kind of thing. So I saw an opportunity for me to provide free, factual, accurate and evidence-based information to you guys, the pet owners. And I also find in consultations that when we are dealing with a complicated disease such as diabetes or idiopathic epilepsy, I only have 15 minutes to do my consult, my clinical exam, treatment options and medication, all of that. And this does not give me enough time to explain a specific condition because the more that the pet owner understands what is going on with their pet, the better the owner compliance will be in the aftercare. So I decided, you know what, if I make a video of 10 to 12 minutes explaining a disease in detail, in kind of a logical manner, then I can just refer people to that video and that will help them to at least know what their pet is going through. And yeah, from there I decided I'm just going to make one video every week for 52 weeks and see where it goes. And today, 52 weeks later, we are sitting on something like 4,300 subscribers and over 1 million views. So I'm really grateful for that and thank you to you guys for watching my videos. And I'm really hoping that I'm making a difference, even if it's just small, in some pet owners and pets' lives, because that is my ultimate goal with these videos. And I try to make them as informative and sometimes entertaining as possible. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to grow this community to even bigger heights. Why did the chicken cross the road? to get to the veterinarian's office because he has an upper respiratory infection which is very contagious and will kill the whole flock. Which species is the smartest other than humans? Well, I don't know if this is a trick question. I'm not sure what the exact scientific answer for that is. I think it really depends on how you define being smart, because a wise man once said, if you judge a fish's intelligence based on his ability to climb a tree, he will continue his whole life believing that he is an idiot. So I believe that all species are very intellectual in their own sense, because if you look at a newborn's ability to adapt and to survive, there's a lot of intelligence kind of pushed into that little brain. Be it something as big as a whale or as small as a bee. These guys are very intellectual, and I think we do not really give them the credit that they deserve. Would you rather fight 100 penguin-sized giraffes or one giraffe-sized penguin? 100 penguin-sized giraffes? Well, I think it's quite easy. I will fight the one giraffe-sized penguin, because if you look at 100 penguin-sized giraffes, these guys still have long necks, and they haven't given me exact measurements for these penguin-sized giraffes, but I can imagine that their eye level is kind of at a dangerous place. So I will not try and take on 100 of these little buggers. The one giraffe-sized penguin, yeah, that could be a problem, but I would assume they're quite slow, so I can just try and push him over and then run away. Then, yeah. What tips or advice would you give to someone before applying to vet school? Okay, I can say a lot about this, and I may make a specific video for this in the future. The biggest piece of advice that I can give you is do not become a vet just because you love animals. I know, what? This does form the main core of veterinary science, because yes, you need to love animals in order to work with them the rest of your lives, but there's so much more to veterinary science than just the thought of curing animals. There's a lot of negatives as well, such as putting animals down that are perfectly healthy, and because pet owners may not have the funds to afford treatment. So I would definitely advise to go work with a veterinarian for a couple of weeks or even months in different sectors. So for example, in companion animals, production animals, wildlife, if you can, to get a proper overview of what the industry is really like, and spend the whole day there for at least a week on end, so that you can see what the day-to-day management is and what will be expected from you as a vet. Because I think many veterinary students start studying veterinary science with kind of a misguided idea of what it really entails, and then they get halfway through their course and just decide to quit. Or even they become veterinarians and then after a year they decide, no, wait, this is not for me, I'm doing something else. And I believe that's because they haven't really formed the foundation of the core of being a veterinarian. And I include myself in that. I wasn't really sure what a vet does before I really got into vet school, and as a veterinarian I still learn stuff every single day. So it is really important for veterinary students or students wanting to apply for vet science to spend time with vets and to see what the industry is really like. The good, the bad, and the ugly. What co-veterinary skill have you found to be useful outside of work? I think for me it would be to maintain a balanced life. So this means kind of approaching it holistically. So when we break down into the core of human being, it will be basically your emotional, physical, spiritual, and intellectual being. And you really need to spend time on each one of these sectors in order to stay sane. So for example, intellectual, that's easy because we are veterinarians, we are being challenged emotionally every single day. Physical is maintaining some sort of exercise. So my wife and I do CrossFit, at least for me 3 times a week, and for her 4 to 6 times a week. Emotional, that is sometimes a bit difficult, especially for us men, because we don't like to really talk about those things, but it is easier for me to open up about bad situations or bad things that happen to me during the day, because I know what type of poison it is to keep it inside. So basically just having a chat with either your spouse or your best friend or your mother or somebody who really understands you and who are there to support you regardless of what the situation might be. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, is the spiritual side. So I am a Christian, and that forms the core of my whole being. And I try to base every decision on my Christian beliefs. I don't always get it right, but I try to live a Christian life. And yeah, that just basically means spending time with God in the morning before I start my day, and reading the Bible and having Christian-like discussions with other people. And I found when I start my day that way, then I have this kind of calmness over me, and the day just works out to be okay. And sometimes when I get rushed in my own ways, then I kind of shove this apart, and then I can just find my life falling apart. So my spiritual side is very important to me and my wife, and something that we continue to build on every single day to become stronger and to share the good news. Okay, and then lastly, what is your favorite moment or memory of being a vet? So I haven't been a vet for too long yet, so I don't know really if I have something for being a vet, but definitely as a vet student, I was part of this organization called the International Veterinary Students Association, or IVSA, which is basically like a worldwide international organization of veterinary students that come together twice a year in a different country to discuss veterinary related matters in the veterinary world, but mostly to party. And I've met some awesome people from all around the world. I've got friends in Europe, America, Asia, Africa, and that really opened up my eyes to what the world looks outside of my little part of Africa. And I really enjoyed learning about other cultures and seeing parts of the world. And through this experience, the travel bug has really bitten me, and I have yet to see many more countries in my life, which I'm hoping to do so soon as whatever is going on in the world ends. And I guess making friends from all around the world that has a similar way of thinking as myself, and who are very smart, kind, and just fun and lekker mense. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video, and thank you so much for being part of my little YouTube channel for the past year and helping to grow this community. I really do appreciate every single like and comment that I receive. I really do try to reply to as many comments as possible, but I am also kind of busy, so I don't always get to all of them, but I do read them and I do appreciate them. And if you found this video to be fun and entertaining, please let me know down in the comments if there are any other questions that you have regarding my life or my profession, and I may just make another video like these in the future. And if you are new to my channel, then consider subscribing, as I'll be posting new videos on interesting pet related topics every week. And as always, have a lekker day, and I'll see you in another video next week. Cheers!